So yeah, we should be live right now.
Um,
Hello, Ryan Bowen.
Hey, what's going on, man? My next opponent, I can't believe it.
Yeah, well, I don't think we have ever been online together.
Not only when holding up the fix when Neil's technology's failing or something like that. That's pretty much the only time it's just been you and me. But other than that, yeah, never, never.
Yeah, weird. Well, hey, we'll pretend our match is not coming up till the end of this episode. Um, so everyone in the chat, everyone who's joining, if you have a question, super chat it. We will try to answer those at the end of the video because I have prepared some things I want to talk about with Ryan, and let's pretty much get going. So, who is Ryan Bowen before arm wrestling?
Oh man, okay. Who's Ryan Bowen before arm wrestling? Before arm wrestling, so that was what 2013. I discovered it. Prior to that, I joined the military straight out of school. I did that for 7.5 years. After 7.5 years, I got out. I started my own business, supplement store. Had no idea that arm wrestling was a thing. But before arm wrestling, it was really just I was just I guess a young kid, competitive, love sport, love everything in that respect. I loved arm wrestling as a kid. I loved arm wrestling as a teenager. I bet my dad when I was 12 years old. I bet my dad $50 that I'd beat him in an arm wrestle on my 18th birthday. I lost that money. Um, but man, I just what's got me going all my life, even before I found arm wrestling, and arm wrestling just ended up being the perfect fit. It was the thing that I'd been waiting for. But I'd been all my life, I just wanted to be a professional athlete of any sense. When I was a little kid, like 3 years old, 4 years old, my parents would say, "What do you want to do with yourself when you grow up?" And I said, "I just want to play sport for Australia." And they'd look at me like, "Oh, okay, yeah, cool." And I'd be like, "I don't know, I'm going to do it somehow." I tried in tennis. I didn't get there. I got as a junior. I was top 10 in Australia as a junior. I won national titles as a junior, but I never could crack into the big time. And I ended up deciding to get a job and join the army instead. So I was just always competitive, hunting opportunities. I loved like athletics carnivals, swimming carnivals, cross country carnivals at school. It didn't matter what it was. I was like, yeah, let me in it. I think I was the athletics age champion every single year in my high school, for instance. Um, I don't know, I did a bunch of things. I was kind of not brilliant at anything, but I was really decent at most things. So that was kind of me. And then arm wrestling. Yeah.
Let's unpack some things there. So, military. When did you join military? If it's not top secret, what did you do? How long you
Oh,
spent there? Did you
yeah.
enjoy?
It was January 16, 2004. I had intended on joining the military as an aeronautical engineer, and
Aeronautical
interestingly,
engineer. That's
that's what I
submarine.
that's what I no aeronautical
Oh,
aeronautical as in yeah yeah. That's what I wanted to go in as.
mm.
I was lazy in school. I didn't study. I just wanted to socialize and just do whatever I wanted, right? And
I
so
feel like I feel like everything involved air involves a lot of studying. Like
yeah, I'm a terrible person at studying. So I didn't get the university or the high school results required to get in for that. And so when I didn't get those results, I remember thinking to myself, "Oh well, I'm not going to be in the military. Whatever. Okay, there's a million other things I can do." My plan B was to go and be a physiotherapist, like Giannis, same sort of stuff. And I'd received my acceptance letters from them. I was about 2 weeks away from commencing studies to be a physiotherapist. And I was on holidays with my parents after school. I was 18 years old. And I got this call. I think it was a Thursday afternoon. I got a call from military recruitment, and they said, "Hey, Ryan, look, I know that you wanted to be an aeronautical engineer and you didn't get the high school results for it. But hey, we'd like to offer you something else. Would you like to be a general service officer, which means you go in and you do 18 months of on the job training, and you'd graduate as a platoon commander in the army. And I said, yeah, right, that sounds good. When would I start? And I said, Monday. So my poor mother got 4 days notice for me disappearing into the military. And then I was in there 18 months of training to become an officer. And then I served 5.5 years as an officer. I ended up specializing in aerial delivery logistics. So I had a platoon, a company of soldiers who would prepare cargo and personnel to be thrown out of a aircraft. And then we'd jump out after it and collect all the parachutes and pack them all up and do it again. So, yeah, that was me. Nothing crazy, but good fun. As a young guy, it was a lot of fun.
Did you get some things, like a lot of people get disciplined from it? Did you get more discipline? Or
I was always, believe it or not, people think I stir the pot all the time. People think I'm looking for trouble. I swear I was the best, well-behaved kid. Just ask my mother. I was the easiest kid in the world. And no, I was the same. I was always I've never been a troublemaker, so I was never looking for trouble in any way, shape or form. Yeah.
did the trouble find you?
The trouble. No, look, the trouble didn't find me too much. During my time in the military, it was good in terms of the discipline. I mean, you didn't have a chance to do anything outside the rules. I was too young to not do what was meant of me. I was not going to cause any waves. So it was good. I mean, I came in at 19 years old as a platoon commander, so I had 40 soldiers supposedly underneath my command, which as a 19-year-old is one of the quickest ways to lose all credibility and backfire if you try to get into that situation, just start telling people how to do things. So for me, I think I had a level head that I went in that role, and I went straight to my warrant officers and sergeants and said, hey guys, I just want to learn from you guys how this platoon operates. I'll be your voice up to the chain of command above and represent anything that we need doing. And I'll represent it back down from them, and we'll try to find a sweet balance. So that was kind of it. And so it did give me a lot of, I guess my public speaking ability came from the military. I was not a public speaker at all prior. I couldn't give a speech to save myself prior to the military, but they beat that out of me pretty bad. Like you have to, there's no way around it. And it set me up financially, set me up, yeah, it was good to be 19 years old and to be a platoon commander was solid. So did that for 7.5 years. But I got what was the end of the line for me was when I started getting higher up the ranks. I was a captain, and I was basically just doing the administration for an entire company, which is about 120 people, all their discipline, it was just boring stuff. There's too much paperwork, and I'm like, I'm out of here. Need to do something different.
Understandable. Yeah. Your tennis career, how did that start? How long did you pursue it? And
Tennis.
I heard the results, but what did you gain out of it?
Tennis was something that I took up at age 7. I enjoyed it straight off the bat. I was good straight off the bat. It was for me where what I really got from tennis was a foundation of willingness to jump in the deep end in a competitiveness sense. I had a goal right from 7 years old. I want to play for Australia and be in Wimbledon and win the French Open and all this kind of stuff. I looked up to Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi and those sorts of names and loved it. Was really obsessed with tennis. And as I got older, I played in my local tennis competitions, just Friday night comps against local people and whatnot. And at 12 years old, I remember really wanting to be the champion of the club and of the men in the club. And it was at 12 years old, I was like, it was still a stretch away, but I remember I was in about Division 3 at the time. And I used to hassle and this will sound familiar to the arm wrestling world. I used to hassle the organizers to put me in matches in Division 1 when I was in Division 3. Sound familiar? But
Sounds very familiar.
I used to hassle the pro and he'd say, "You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. Just get some experience, climb the ladder, win Division 3, then we'll put you in Division 2." And I'm like, "I don't want to be Division 2. I want Division 1." And I used to say to them, "Look, if anyone doesn't turn up this Friday night, I'll stay back because Division 3 was in the afternoon, Division 1 was of the evening. I'll stay back and I'll watch Division 1. And if anyone doesn't turn up, if there's someone missing who's unannounced, I'm the fill-in." And eventually the pros would be like, "Okay, you can be the fill-in if someone doesn't turn up," rather than them forfeiting the match. And so that happened 2 or 3 times. And I would play my best. I'd lose. I'd get my ass kicked. But man, I would play my best tennis when I filled in. And look, it wasn't when I was age 14, I was the club champion, beating everyone in Division 1. So that's kind of what I got out of it. I think tennis was the proving ground where I now repeat the same thing in arm wrestling. I keep projecting forward. And that's where the delusional Ryan Bowen comes from, I guess, is me projecting forward on my ability. But yeah, that and pronation gave me a hell of a lot of pronation. A lot. I mean, as I got better in tennis, and I at age 17, when I was in the top 10 in Australia as a junior, and I'd won national titles, I was doing 3 hours a day, every day training for 6 days a week, either on court or fitness training. And so the heavy topspin forehands resulted, no doubt, in what for me felt like just connection to arm wrestling straight away in that pronation sense.
So because like tennis is a little bit like completely opposite. Like when we say tennis elbow, it's the lateral side of our forearms. When we say golfer's elbow, it's the ulnar side or the inside. Do you think, because you don't say your elbows have a lot, like you never bitch about elbow problems. You're just like, yeah, I'm fine. Because you have developed so much of this that this now is easier to build up.
Yeah, it could possibly be. I remember at about age 15 going through tennis elbow really severely. It was as I was just going through a growth spurt or something at the same time as all that training. And it was debilitating. I remember not being able to hold a plate with a sandwich on it without extreme pain. And that sort of pressure was too much. So that lasted about 3 months before I got through that and was able to play properly again. Arm wrestling for the first 12 months for me was tender, but it certainly isn't now. Now I go hunting the opportunity in matches to make it about elbows and make it about whose elbow is going to flare up first and who can handle it. So I do think I've always been a believer that super high reps at like that light to medium resistance has always been really beneficial for me, and tennis no doubt was that. It was hundreds of thousands of small impacts through the elbow. So yeah, I think that probably has helped in arm wrestling, and I still take that same approach of I arm wrestle as often as I can. I like to just pull for hours, and I like to get 3 to 4 to 5 days a week if I can. If I can get that many people to group up with me, I will. I'd choose table time over resistance training any day of the week.
I think there's some truth to your, elbow sustainability just by looking one PR maxes that you did quite back some time ago. Not a lot of people can hold that, in any of those positions. For me, it doesn't matter how, good or bad the position was. Just holding that was very impressive. So how did you get introduced to professional arm wrestling? Like, when was the time when you saw first arm wrestling table and you're like, oh, this is a real sport?
2013. And I owned a sports supplement store. My wholesale resupplier challenged me to an arm wrestle one day, and he beat me. And it pissed me off because I liked generally arm wrestling friends and everything. And I usually would win, probably 99% of the time against friends and family. And this guy beat me, and I thought, what the hell? And I said to him when he left, I said, when you come back next month to resupply, I'm going to beat you. And I added to it, and I'll never lose again. And he just laughed because he beat me quite dominantly. But then I jumped online straight away in 2013, looked up professional arm wrestling. I straight away found the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation. It had just kicked off the year before, and they had a national championship and all that. That straight away got me excited. But then early days, I remember for me, it was seeing Nemiroff with Saplenkov and John Brzenk pulling. That was out there. And I saw and Arm Wars was on Eurosports. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I watched Pulling John and I was sold. Like literally that afternoon, I was convinced I'd found my thing. I'm like, here it is. I didn't make it in tennis. This is what I'm going to do it in. And the reason I felt that way was because I saw that the average age of these legends, the guys that were number one ranked in the world, I was looking at John at the time. It was in his 40s. And I'm like, shit, this guy's late 40s and he's dominating. So that I was convinced. I'm like, if late 40s means you can be best in the world still at that age. At the time, I was 27 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I haven't missed a boat. I'm all in. And I decided that day, and that's what I created my YouTube channel. I created it, and I think my early videos of me sitting there looking super skinny and weird, saying, "Hey, I don't know where this channel's going to go, but I want to be a national champion. I'm going to bring you along for the ride." So, yeah,
So
that's it.
that would be my next question. The ideas for putting it all online. Where did that come from?
Yeah, that came from the fact that I wanted it to be a career, and I recognized straight away that even the very top guys in the sport at the time, it didn't look like they were being paid enough to call it a career, and I don't think they were back then. So I was like, oh man, if I want this to be a career, even if I got to world rank number one, I'd still not be paid enough, and that would take decades for me to achieve if I could even get halfway to it. So I straight away thought, okay, well, I'm never going to do it organically through the sport. So I need to create a means of income via a media career as well. So I started the YouTube channel, and I started just along the lines of saying, okay, well, I don't have any authority in the sport or credibility. I'm just gonna vlog my journey. I'm just gonna tell my story. Just gonna say what I'm doing. Just gonna express my goals. And again, just like the Delusional Ryan Bowen series, if you go back to my first 12 months of videos, you'll see I'm pissing off all of the state and national champions in Australia. They're all like, who the hell is this redhead who thinks he can come for us? Whatever. This is why I continue to be so optimistic, and why people who watch me and laugh don't get it. If they knew that I've done this, I don't know, whether it was at tennis, whether it was in my first 12 months, I've always expressed very openly my ambition to be at the level, not only one above, but two above where I'm at now. I'm always aiming for two above where I'm at now. That's kind of what I verbalize. And I think that's why it pisses people off. If I aim for just one step ahead, they might be like, okay, that's fair. But I aim for two steps ahead, and I not only aim for it, I say I'm going to do it. So people, yeah.
It's only delusions when you don't hit the mark,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we pressed pause right now on my level as an arm wrestler, both as a content creator and as an arm wrestler, you could probably wind the clock back 2-3 years. And what I was saying 2-3 years ago as my goal is where I'm at now. 2-3 years ago, people were still saying I was delusional. So it's just that I actually strive to keep my level ahead of my reputation. I never want my reputation to actually be accurate. I want my actual level to be ahead of my reputation always. And that's what keeps me driving hard in terms of training. I never want the internet to actually know how good I am. I want to always be better than what the internet thinks I am.
Yeah, well, internet has a lot of opinions based on nothing. We know that. Australian arm wrestling. I remember when it started because one of my friends, Martin Lawrence, he went there and he competed in the national championship. I think he won the class. It was really, really just a start. And Bykos also lives there, and he's been the champ there as well. You've been a part of that ride. Like you said, you started in the year before they started. And now I just look at like the practices you guys have. It's amazing, and you're the biggest champion of Australian arm wrestling. And I think at one point, of course, the achievements gonna catch up with the hype, so Australian arm wrestling, your work in it, your ambitions in it.
Yeah, look, Australian arm wrestling has been a fantastic story. My involvement commenced about 18 months after the federation commenced. So when Martins came out, Lawrence's, he was, I think, 2012. So I missed meeting him. I didn't get to pull with him, and that's when, he did. He won the FedEx, where he beat people like Brett Coots in the final, and I remember when I started in 2013, people would talk so fondly about Martins. Like people in Australia would be like, are we good? Are we strong? Or like, how good are we? And we're like, no, we're terrible. There's this dude who weighs 50 kilos or whatever. He wrecked everyone. And everyone, he was like this enigma, Martins, as this like, whoa, there's so many levels to this. If this little dude from Latvia was wrecking all our big guys, like he was. But Martins actually played a big role in setting the direction of Australian arm wrestling on a technical level. He was the first professional standard arm wrestler to visit Australia once the federation had begun, and I think he set them on a good path. John Brzenk then visited the next year. Devon Larratt then started coming out as well, and I think what Australian arm wrestling did well is we had a really solid group of people in charge of the federation, a lot of fantastic volunteers and a lot of enthusiasm. The sport grew very quickly on the back of that professionalism, and we went from having, like when I started in 2013, there was 3 guys in Queensland interested. It was Doug Fatafi, Grant Tolentino, and then myself, and then Phil Rasmussen eventually moved up as well. But we grew through arm wrestling. I remember Devon Larratt gave us the strategy. He said, pick a public place, take your table, go and arm wrestle in public and train in that, and just let people come up to you and chat. And we did that. We then had built like an A-frame advertising board and just put it near the table and just had our Facebook page on there, Brisbane Heavy Hitters. And then so even the people that were shy, that didn't want to come up and talk to us on the day, they'd go visit the Facebook page, and then we'd get messages saying, hey, when do we meet, train? Can I come and be a part of it? How much does it cost to train? And everyone was always so surprised that it doesn't cost anything to come and train. They always thought it was going to cost them. But over the years, it just grew and grew and grew. And there have been, I think, I give a lot of credit to Jordan Davis. I give a lot of credit to Lachlan Adair. I give a lot of credit to, who else am I going to give a lot of credit to? I got to think. I don't want to give this credit out freely. Those 2 names, I'll leave it there. And the reason I give those 2 guys a lot of credit is, along with myself, we were the 3 people in the last 5 years that had goals of being an international standard pro. Other athletes have been quite competitive in Australia, but everyone else was state or national level ambitions. But Jordan is, and Lachlan and myself, I'm certain we've dragged up a lot of people's desire and a lot of people's ability because of those international goals. And with that success from Jordan and Lachlan and myself, with the exposure through WAL and through YouTube and whatnot, we've got such a good network now. The pyramid of people in the club is truly phenomenal. We have hundreds of people now in the state that are very active on a regular basis. And the depth now is so good. Like, the whole sport's changed, as we're all aware, in terms of when a new guy turns up now, they're phenomenal. Like week 1, they know how to pull. It's like, whoa, where did this come from? Because that wasn't the case 5-6 years ago, not at all. Now everyone who turns up knows it. So social media has played a big role, and because we've had a good culture and we've had a good Australian Arm Wrestling Federation in place, everyone who has arrived has stuck around. Well, not everyone, but I mean a high percentage of people who have arrived in our local clubs have stuck around. And now of course we have the Brisbane 8, the all-time famous Brisbane 8. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If someone gets asked, like, who do you know from Australia, those 3 names going to come up. It's you, Lachlan, and Jordan. And all of you have been killing it in little different ways. Like Jordan in Arm Wars was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I rewatched his videos a few times, the emotions he shows and everything. And, I really like the dude, and Lachlan's been killing it, and you're doing your thing. So more is to come for sure. Just,
yeah. Absolutely. I do really believe in those other two guys. I know they both have really legitimate goals. They're both very consistent, very professional in their approach, and they're relentless. And I for me, I always think that, I don't know, this is just a bit of my own personal belief, but I've always believed that whoever has the biggest goal and is brave enough to just stay on it, eventually the rankings sort themselves out in line with how big and how ambitious your goal truly is. Because your goal drags along your work ethic at the end of the day. And that normally, I mean, genetics aside, genetics obviously play a role. I tend to find out in life that those people who work the hardest end up on top, and what defines that is how big the goal is. So Lachlan and Jordan, I know, have immense goals. And now there's a few new faces on the block that have big goals too, which is really exciting. So there'll be more names in the future very shortly that pop up out of Australia.
Yeah, Barnett brothers, Mario, Andy, those guys, and plus more. I have seen, like, it's a weird thing. I've been along the ride.
Yeah, you've been involved quite a lot in Australian arm wrestling. I mean, through, I guess, with our affiliation through the Fix and just being online creators. But you've also coached, like, I know Lachlan started under the Latvian system.
Yeah. There's I think input from all the sides, and it's my goal is just make sport bigger, and just looking at that, it's like I sometimes see your practices. I'm very envy. We don't have that much people in Latvia at all, and it's most of the time people are not that interested. It's very hard to find someone good and then kind of make them stick. So, but we're looking at new talent every 2 years, 1 or 2 guys every 2 years that might come out and be the next the pro level or world level arm wrestler. But you have quite potential there for sure.
Yeah, there's heaps coming. I'm looking forward to the future. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
So Ryan, you put up that infamous post, one of thousands that you put out, where you put your ambitions, and you said, like, you put your ambitions way ahead. How bad do you want to be number one in the world? And because, like, everyone, we can hate as much as we can, but, like, for us, I'm just stating reality. I think it's such a hard task, and
can we clarify the question? Are we talking which one? Because there's been a slight adjustment to my goals.
Number one
in the world,
number one in your class, and then a few years later, we can throw 11 away. Okay, we can throw that away.
We can, and I'll briefly touch on it. The reason that goal was something in my head that for the at that period of time I thought, yeah, it's possible. It's for the same reason of what Hermes has done. There was a time when I had made the decision that I was happy and willing to go down the same path that Hermes has in terms of pancakes and transforming. And you can see what the effect of that is. I mean, Hermes himself, I met Hermes as an under 80 kilo arm wrestler in 2015. Yeah. He was my size. He was actually looked smaller than me. So at that time, I was extrapolating all of that, going, okay, well, yeah, look, I might turn into a 140 kilo beast someday. If I continue that path. I've now changed my stance on that opinion. I just don't want to do it personally. So with that off the table, then that goal becomes no longer possible. So that one's gone. But within my weight category, absolutely my goal is the world champion. I really, really, really want to have a good crack at that. And I honestly, and here comes the quotes for the delusional people, I think I'll get it. I really do. I think there's a time in the future I will be the world champion in my weight.
Masters doesn't count. It doesn't count. You cannot win Masters.
Don't worry. I agree.
It has to be open or seniors. It has to be open.
100%. 85 kilos is where I could get to with a water cut right now. If I had to, an aggressive water cut, I could be up 85 kilos. And if I look at the names at 85 kilos, who is the best of the world? Is it Bojidar at 85?
Boji is lighter. Boji usually pulls 80.
Who is the who is the best in the world at 85?
Dobrin was the last world champ. Didn't that good in Europeans. Christo, Netherlands Christo from Bulgaria. If Russia comes back, there's quite some Russians in there as well. Tautiev and some more as well. So,
So like, and those names, honestly, it seems like I don't actually think, and this is again more delusional content. Get it ready, guys. Put the timeline down. They don't seem that far away. They don't. Like on a level when you arm wrestle, and you know this, right? Because you're an arm wrestler. You can feel the gap, and when you can't feel the gap, it's intimidating. You're like, oh, I just lost to that dude. I don't even know where his level is. I couldn't feel the edge. I believe that those guys that you named there, albeit that they may be currently able to defeat me handsomely, I believe I could feel and experience, touch their limits over there. I can see where it is.
Get data.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And that's why I've always said I want those matches. Like, give me, I'll pull Bojida. Yeah, of course I would. I would love to. Because even if he beats me, or if Plamen Dimitrov, whatever, I don't care. I'll pull anyone. Because I know, again, this is back to my tennis days at 12 years old. Being in Division 1 as a 12-year-old, filling in and getting my ass handed to me, but experiencing it was the biggest catalyst to me filling the gaps that were most essential. It was the biggest catalyst for me becoming that athlete that eventually was number one. So yeah, I'll never hesitate to say, yeah, give me those matches. That just doesn't bother me to lose, whether it was RVJ, Sasha Andreev, anyone. I would pull all those guys without hesitation for that reason. Yeah.
It makes sense. I cannot hate on that. I think that all makes total sense. You have to pull someone to figure out where your level is. And even if you lose, you still can have a lot of data on it. You can go back and train and, and then you see, can you fill that gap? That's the difference. But you have to go and try for sure. Yeah. Makes sense. Well, I think it's everything in world of arm wrestling is possible, but you have to compete to see if it's probable. Did I use it right? Or yeah, because
and one thing that I am very aware of on my own level is what I describe as European style arm wrestling. Like my experience at the Zloty, I didn't perform as well as I wanted to. And what I felt my struggle was a lot of it was lack of awareness of what the referee and what the start feels like. Very different to a WAL or an arm wars even, or just or certainly Australian style arm wrestling, where there was a lot more room to move, a lot more load before the go. So straight away that was like, oh, awesome. Okay, once I went away from Zloty, it was now like, okay, now I have something to work with. I remember that feeling through my hand, and I'm confident that when I come back, like I'm really excited next time I pull in Europe again, which just so happens to be against you, Ray, that it won't feel so foreign. I know what to expect now. So all these things are just so necessary. Taking the losses, taking those awkward moments where you feel out like a fish out of water. Just like, yeah, they're all so necessary. So I'm excited. And I was aware after my Zloty performance that was a big part. I realized to become a world champion at my weight category, I'm going to need to be able to pull under very strict, rigid rules and still get wins. So, yeah.
Okay. Your motivation. What's the biggest motivation for you?
My motivation, I've had two goals right from the beginning that have been just nothing. They've never wavered. One is to become a world champion, or just to become the highest arm wrestler I can, and the other mission is to facilitate a business that empowers as many people as possible to be able to call arm wrestling a career. So we're talking about money. So those two things drive me. What motivates me, I don't know. I've always been very competitive. I've always been very driven. I think I've been very consistent. I've always kind of taken that approach that, like, if you're at the back of a pack at at a concert and you want to be in the front row to watch the music, if you sit there and wait for the person in front of you to invite you up and help you be up front and just push and help get you up the front, you're never going to get there. In fact, you're going to get people push you back. You got to lean into it. You got to lean into it the whole time. So my own motivations have always been about just achieving. I just like to compete, whether it's in business, whether it's in sport. Right from the beginning, my sister would verify. She hated my competitive side, everything. My older sister, I tried to turn everything into a competition. Hey, sis, I bet you can't throw this rock and hit that pole. I bet you can't beat me to the letterbox, whatever. And she used to say, Mom, would you just tell Ryan to shut up and stop trying to compete with me and everything? So it's just been in me. Always competition's been in me. And now I'm very blessed that arm wrestling truly has become my career. It pays the bills for myself, my wife, for my children. And it's not only doing that, but it's at the point where it's expanding the sport, where I'm able to actually give back pretty significant amounts of prize money, of travel money to athletes, and there's more and more coming. So it's easily self-perpetuating now, to the point where, because of that success in the business, it just the motivation's easy, man. It's not a problem at all. It's just, I honestly I feel like it's inevitable. I honestly feel like all these things, like the World Championships, inevitable. Yeah, I feel like pound for pound arm wrestling being a massive business that puts hundreds of thousands of dollars back into the sport every year. Absolutely. That's inevitable. Like, I don't know, 5 years from now, I would imagine pound for pound arm wrestling is putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars back into the sport, whether it be in prize money or appearance fees or refereeing fees, whatever. It'll be putting back, a hell of a lot. So that's the goal. And yeah, motivation's easy.
Yeah, I think you are the best at making money from arm wrestling, without a doubt. I mean, without pulling for large amounts of money, but for actually, doing the work and doing the job. I don't have that much motivation. I'm too lazy for it. So I just look up to you. I'm like, Ryan's killing it. Ryan's crushing it.
Yeah. Things are going real good at the moment. I've been blessed in the last chapter to, like, I can always reflect back through the business as I can in my arm wrestling and say that was a significant moment when that door opened. Things changed. I've had one of those moments just like a month ago. I'm like, oh wow. So now I'm in one of these chapters now where I'm really buzzed. I'm really excited about pressing forward in the business side, the content side. There's a new door has opened, and it's one of the, I know that I'll reflect in 2 or 3 years from now. I'll be like, that moment there, that was a big turning point, because things are looking good. Things are going real well in the business right now.
Yeah, well, that's what I see, and that's motivation for me for sure. I cannot get far behind.
Well, Ray, I remember. I'm sure you're the same, because you're a YouTuber. You love stats. You love the analytics of channels, and I watch so closely the analytics. And I check the analytics. I check probably 5 or 6 times a day the Social Blade website with my channel compared to yours and Michael Todd's. No, seriously, I do. And as in the worms of subscribers, because you and I, when we started, your channel and my channel it was like they were somehow linked. They were doing the exact same shape for about like literally the exact same shape for about 2 years, and I was slightly ahead of you. And then you just picked up your game. You started putting out content with Giannis, and you put a gap on me of about 10,000 subs. And it pissed me off, Ray. It pissed me off.
I know.
I'm like, come on, Ryan. Pick up your game.
I know that.
But I love it. Like that sort of shit motivates me. Watch out, Ray. I'm only 4,000 subs behind you right now, just so you know. Closing in. But I love that stuff. I love the competition. Not that like all ships rise with the tide. I really do subscribe to that theory, and I love and will always support everyone's channels. I'll take an interview when people ask me to do it. Yeah, I think it's great. I love seeing more content creators do what they do and succeed. But look, I won't lie. I've got my eyes on arm wrestling TV and going, I am gonna catch you, Alex. I am gonna catch you. That's been there since Alex blew up. I'm like, I'm gonna get him. Yeah, you enjoy your time, Alex, up there, but I'm coming.
You just have to do a series. Can you beat this schoolgirl? And
Yeah.
boom.
I'm gonna, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get too delusional already. People are gonna start telling Alex about it if I keep on
Oh,
talking. So I'll keep that one to myself for a while on how
ambitions
I'm
are
gonna do
good.
it.
Ambitions are good. Ambitions are good. Yeah, like you and Mike for sure deal with the biggest hate, I think, online. How do you deal with that? Do you read the comments? Do you answer to the comments?
Yeah.
If Engen doesn't like someone, he just blocks them. He's like, delete, report, bye.
Man, the it's um such an interesting situation to find yourself in. I remember I would describe the first maybe 4,000 subscribers that I had. Hate didn't exist. My first 4,000 subscribers, everything was just support, support, support. Um, Between 4,000 and 10,000, you'd start to see criticism coming in and whatnot. Um, and that was fine. It was just odd little innocent bits of criticism, and every now and then someone would be a dickhead and you just dismiss it, whatever, I guess. But then certainly there was a critical point where it got to a phase where I had enough of a following. I was low enough down on my actual arm wrestling credibility and ranking, and my ambitions were public that, man, yeah, attracted all of a sudden. I think I might have surpassed Michael Todd as the most most hated person in arm wrestling. There was definitely a peak, maybe 12 months ago or something. I don't know when it was. Probably around the Zloty Tour, like in that 12 months after the Zloty Tour. That zone there was probably the strongest. Let's just go anti-Ryan sentiment, whatever. But dealing with that, it was going through all the different phases of that have been interesting. And again, with the chapter that's just opened now in the last month, it's changed again for me on how I even deal with that. Like the one attitude that I've tried to adopt is that in all the hate, and you call it hate, call it just whatever you want, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. In the negativity that comes from the internet towards you as a content creator, as an arm wrestler, as a person, I've tried to adopt the approach of realizing that there is gold in that hate if you can be brave enough to see it. And that gold is that, albeit they're wrapping it up in a bit of an asshole manner and making you feel bad in the moment, they're actually guiding you to something better. If you listen to it, if you listen to the hate, you don't have to agree with them, but you have to respect them, that they are an opinion that exists out there. And if there's a certain percentage of people that have a certain opinion, then they're guiding you. They're steering you away from what was a problem, whether it's become more humble, whether it's don't do stupid lifts, whether it's use better form, like whatever it is. I've been through random little chapters where I've copped backlash, and I've tried to just see it for what the good that it is, and just help it be one of those considerations that guide you. It is difficult. I see lots of people, and you mentioned Engen for sure is one of them, will take criticisms and very personally, and some stuff does get very nasty. Some stuff gets nasty and it's factually incorrect. They're the ones that people usually bite on. If it's nasty and it's factually incorrect and it's defamatory in some ways, whatever, they're accusing you of things, those are the things that are really big baits for you to bite onto. But I'm getting better and better and better at learning to just not care, don't bite, just don't care. And it's easy. Success is the easiest way to have that feeling of I don't care. I don't even notice it. Like right now, like when I woke up this morning from going to bed last night, I had about 3,500 comments on my combined YouTube channel. I can't read all 3,500 comments. So I'm scrolling through, and I might find one that says, like a comment that's saying, "Gee whiz, Ryan, you should be paying Devon some revenue. You're squeezing this one pretty hard." Things like that, and 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 to me, that just makes me laugh. Now I'm just like, for me, I'm just like, yeah, cool, man. You just, that's great. I didn't respond, but in my head, I'm like, that's great. You just enjoy the view from the back seats, buddy. I'm going up here now, so see you later. So success is the easiest manner in which to not care about random comments. It doesn't bother me. So, but look, I will block people if someone gets in my face and they chase you around and they follow you and they just their intent is to try to genuinely upset you. Then, yeah, I just block, and it doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't trouble me at all to know that I don't get to see their opinion. It doesn't bother me. Like, yeah, see you later.
I think with you're so popular and so polarizing because of this that people will watch you. Like, your videos will have more views if Ryan Bowen versus whoever will get like a ton of views, because there's enough people that want you to succeed, but I think there's way more that want you just lose.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but Mayweather made the career, makes millions off of it. So I think you're on the right path when it doesn't get to you, you know.
Yeah.
And people be saying, you know, I'm always hating on Ryan. So I'm not hating on Ryan. It's just when you say you think you can be 85 kilo world champ, I will believe it when I will see it. I don't like my mind to be hijacked. So I have done that before when I jumped on a bandwagon without, you know, like all I ask is evidence. Go, be there. I will believe you. And then someone says, I told you so. I'm like, yeah, but it didn't exist. So my problems is usually with reality. I'm like, okay, I'll just believe it because it's not you. And the same thing goes, you know, schoolboy. Everyone's schoolboy is best in the world. He never said that. It's people who believe it. I'm like, chill. Okay.
And that's the thing. There's a difference between I'm some people stay quiet about their own ambitions. Some people really do, and they just say, I'm just gonna let my arm wrestling do the talking. And honestly, that's fine. That's fine. That's good. I just find that boring. I find, if we look at history, the most significant entertainers in sport, they all projected their goals before they were there. Muhammad Ali, probably the best example. Somebody who came into greatness by saying, by being written off, and by him saying, look, trust me, I know you've all got him picked, but I'll show you how great I am. And so he was always bold enough to say what he believed his reality was, even though no one else knew it yet. So the thing is, and one of the things that people, I think, again, where a lot of criticism comes from, is that people will automatically link that with arrogance. They'll link those two and say, this person is an asshole because of the way they project it. And they link it to arrogance. I think you'll find that, like, look, Devon's another person who will project forward big time. He'll trash talk a lot. Ali trash talked and projected forward. Both those guys, incredibly humble at the end of the match. Incredibly humble. Both incredibly respectful to their opponent immediately after the match. Both incredibly respectful to the community. They give their energy, time, expertise freely. They're both amazing with children in the sport. And these are just two examples. And so I think you'll find that people that project forward and come across in that manner and can be, I think, incorrectly perceived as arrogant a lot of the time. They're not. They're just brave to say what they believe they can do in the future. And yes, reality is that they can't do it yet. But and I think that's the gray, that's the blur. Is that
I think that was the problem. That was the problem. Because people look back at Zloty, Lachlan, and they're like, you told us you would do it.
You know?
It's like, you know, everyone who goes to a tournament wants to win. They just keep it inside. And I think you just put it out there, you know, and I cannot express this more. I'm like, I'm not hating on Ryan. I will believe it when I will see it. Make me see.
And I'm certainly guilty of it. And I actually think that all sportsmen do this. And I think you even do this, Ray. And correct me if I'm wrong, you just do it in your head. But all sports people of all disciplines of every sport out there, they meditate on and imagine themselves in a match up against a certain opponent. And they search for the imagined success. And they go looking for it. And they feel, and then they get an inkling that, like, look, if I can achieve this position at that time with this amount of deception or whatever, then from there, I can win the damn thing. So they start to believe, okay, look, yeah, it's a long shot, but there's a way. It's possible. And we all do that. Yeah, we all do that. Like, you have to do that. If you don't do that, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
We had 500 matches in my head in a few days, so
yeah,
at least 500.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been worried about you getting on a riser. Going, hang on, when he gets on a riser, I got to change. When he's not on a riser, I do this. When he's on a riser, I do that. I ain't falling for that riser trick. I've been watching, mate. Oh, good stuff.
Okay, guys, I have one big question, then we get to some super chats. If you have any questions, ask them, and I will not keep Ryan anymore. But this is the big question I always ask to everyone: is why do you love arm wrestling?
Oh man, why do I love arm wrestling? It's fulfilled for me the childhood ambitions of being able to be a sports person. Through that, it's given me an ability to have a career doing the thing I love. And whilst achieving all that, it's the community has brought to me friendships in every corner of the globe. I've been afforded to meet the legends of the sport and call them friends. I've really hit the jackpot, and arm wrestling has been the circle that has been that for me. So it's been a tremendous positive influence on my life. And so how could I not love arm wrestling?
That is, yeah. There's a lot and different for everyone. It's like the answers I always get. It's so interesting for me, because everyone sees it differently. Everyone experiences differently. And I think that's the beautiful part about this sport.
And I can do it for life. Like, there's no reason. Like, you do this till you're dead, and still be relevant. And
like Ryan at 60, I'm gonna be the world champion. 75.
I will still. I'm certain. Look. Someone when I am 74, will get this clip or somewhere, and they'll and do it. But when I put it on the new delusional 78 or delusional 103 or whatever it will be at the time, but it's 73. Yeah, I'm still absolutely. I'm going to be aiming up. I'll literally aim up as high for as long as I can. Why not? Have fun. Even if aiming up means only that I can still beat my grandchildren, whatever. But that'll do.
Okay, there's not a lot of questions, but let's get some super chats. Ryan, if there were 3 people on the boat that you had to throw off, save the other ones, who would you throw off? Come on, it's like easy. It's Ray or Lachlan. Of course, it's Lachlan.
Who am I throwing off the boat out of Ray and Lachlan?
Yeah.
But, so I got to. Look, Lachlan is going to eat more, but
yeah, he'll eat your leg. You have better chances of killing me than him. Plus,
I don't know.
Get him out.
Yeah, you are expressing a very good case there. I don't know. Look, I would, I'd make him arm wrestle for it. I don't know. Sorry, right?
Yeah. So, Arm Wrestling Bible is kind of teasing us the calm before the storm.
Isn't Arm Wrestling Bible? Is Arm Wrestling Bible the dude that does delusional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He tagged me on an Instagram post or a story, and I sent back, don't give me hope. He said that on Friday, that's tomorrow, part 6 is coming out, or 7 or whatever.
Really? It's coming out this week.
Yeah. Like, how do you look at those series? For me, they're super entertaining. I just watch them like this is quality.
No,
Quality.
I think they've stepped up in quality. They're pretty good. They make me laugh. I think he's whoever's doing it is taking it. I laugh at how many hours of my shit they must go through to watch to find the stuff that they find contradictions
Exactly.
and things that I'm like, wow, you
Not
dug
just your
so
stuff. It's wherever you are.
yeah.
It's different. Someone else on different shows. It's amazing.
I feel like that person has watched probably more of my content than anyone else in the world, for the service that they do. So I enjoy it. I think they're, they're probably a fan deep down. They're probably a massive fan of me, and they're helping propel my career. Or if they aren't a fan of me, they're probably, I'm sure they must be struggling going to bed at night, because I think all of it's good. Like, even if it's funny and negative, it's good. It brings more people in. It does. It makes more people watch when I crush Ray in East vs West.
I imagine the guy has a room, that from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where the pictures and strings from each side, and he's like, so what's this one there? That's how I imagine his home. But
I feel I can relate to what I imagine it to be like to be a politician in public life, where you just you just can't not contradict yourself in some way, shape, or form. Sure enough, somewhere there's something I say, it's impossible. And but just what is it? Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I'm sure deep down we're all like that, but hey, I just take it well. So yeah, keep coming.
And you put it outside for everyone to see. Okay, so we go to our match. How did that happen?
Our match is, man, it's been coming for a long time, hasn't it? I mean, I think that
years.
Yeah, we've both grown through in our presence in the sport over a similar period of time. We've had the opportunity to touch hands a bunch of times, and you've cracked me so convincingly every time we've ever touched hands. I haven't been able to do a thing to you.
That's also terrible for me.
Because you have no idea.
I made just
no one actually knows,
and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this anytime anymore. I'm like, no. This will give me like,
yeah, you'll be way too confident. But we've had all of that at the same time, where people have said to you before and accused you of you're always hating on Ryan. Whatever that sentiment is, whether it's whatever truth or not is in there, there's that, and the internet knows that exists. That this will be interesting, because
we've been clashing.
Ryan's always said he's here. Ray's always said, no, you're not. You're there. We'll find out. We'll find out. There's no better way.
Won't. No, we won't, because you say you're here. I say you're here, and I'm right here. It was a trap. So you have to look like really good against me.
I think I'm the favorite. I think I'm the favorite going in. You're going up in weight. I'm coming down. I think I'm the favorite. Everyone knows it. I think even Giannis knows it. I like that. Giannis said I was going to win. So look, I guess there's pressure on me in that respect. But this match for me is an exciting match for all the marketing reasons. Plus, look, I've been just waiting to get out of the box for 2.5 years, and man, I'm excited to perform. And I'm sorry, Ray, but I'm just gonna crush you so bad.
Oh, you won't. No, you won't. It's Giannis is worried because Giannis looks at matches stylistically. He's like, right, you will not like Ryan's style, because he has more data on fresher you. He's like, you will not like, But it gave me like a big flame. I was so happy. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Let's do this finally. So I think it's a big match, not only for both of us, it's big for community. I think
Oh yeah, it's
that
awesome.
will be
And
the most weighted match on the card. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah, well, it's so exciting. Like when Engen was talking about it, and what a phenomenal lineup that Engen's put together.
Amazing.
But when Engen was putting the match together, and he asked me about this match, I said, "Oh, Engen, this is a good match for you. This will bring in pay-per-views for you, Engen." And Engen was like, "Will it for sure?" And I'm like, "Oh, trust me, Engen, it will." And now I love seeing it. It's so cool from the community. I've seen when Engen has posted the comment. I've seen a number of people comment and share saying the match they're most looking forward to is you and me. And I was like, oh yeah, I love it. This is so good. The storyline's there.
So absolutely. So this was the last nice conversation we can have. But
the Instagram posts and trolling will definitely get thicker and thicker as we get closer, for sure.
I'm excited. I really can't wait, and I'm training my ass off. And
Are you going to be on a riser or not? You're going to be on a riser. You are.
I don't know. Like again, if I look back at those matches, the press would be the best solution. But I haven't been pressing that much with my
top roll. Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird, and Wright is doing different stuff as well. But I feel me and you with Wright, we're like the way that I arm wrestle now, where I'm strong now, super similar to your style. If you look, just like pretty much, we're very, very, very similar. But we'll see. I'm fucking excited for this one. I'm just training like I have had.
I think the funniest thing has to be though that I have a feeling we are the first match of the card.
Yes.
The funniest thing is we are going to finish, and then we're both going to go and sit down in the commentary booth and commentate.
See, that all gonna change because Revas and Derek will have the second match, and Derek comes back, and we just roast him.
Okay, so we only got one match where it's just you and me awkwardly sitting there.
Yeah, and then we have to survive Derek's slaughter, and that's it.
Oh God.
Do you think that Derek can beat Revas? Would you make him a favorite? It's not.
I think he will do better against Revas than he did against Morozov. I don't think Revas has the same. I don't know. He doesn't have the same bite. Off the center. So he'll get into it more. So although Revas, did very well, very tall guy. And looked good on the hand control against Mike. So I think it's a good match. I'd say Derek's probably really looking forward to an opportunity to go again. I think he'll have learned some big lessons about his approach to the table, his approach to the go, and his approach to his own energy and mood. Because I think he looked real quiet and he was a little intimidated by the whole situation. I think he'll come out swinging this time. Surely,
I think he can do better, but I would put Revas as a favorite for sure. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks everyone who tuned in. We'll be back on Fix on Sunday.
Good fun.
I think it was good talk. I learned a lot about you. So,
good stuff. Hey, give us a prediction in the chat. Who's going to win this damn thing? I want to know. What's the chat saying?
Let's see.
Before we go.
I'll put a poll up.
Put a poll up on your channel. I want to win a damn poll on your channel. I keep losing the polls on mine. I can't believe, whilst I'm here, whilst you're right there, I can't believe my channel didn't help me troll you. I put in the question, who's the better coach?
Yeah.
Surely I can't believe they didn't vote me to be the better coach. That would have been the greatest troll I could have rubbed in your face if I had won there. Am I a better coach?
Hey, there's so little humor in the community. The Hunter, like I made a video yesterday where I talked like one of the guys, he has a channel. He said like arm wrestling practice after 40 is like a waste of time. I watched the video. I wrote down like a big comment. I'm like, no, I should do a video response. I did a video response to it, like 20 minutes. I made that video. Everyone's like, this guy's, you shouldn't have done the response, but some are like, okay, thank you. I get this. And Hunter made Hunter Welch, he made a poster. He's like the real title, why table practice after 40 is stupid or something like that. And people don't know it's humor. That's satire. And they're like, no, Hunter, what you're doing, stop. And just like, hey, I put out one of those, be a man videos. And it's like, never go for a top roll, always pull in a hook. And the comments are like, well, the top roll is a little bit more trickier, it's more technical than anything else.
You're like, yeah. Yeah, no, I've copped it already. Like even some of the things that I put out towards you, just in the last week. Some people are getting real upset and offended, and someone's saying, "You're way too arrogant, Ryan. You should be respectful of Ray." And people are like, "Dude, come on!"
I was laughing. I was cracking up. That dog guy. He's like, "That's stupid. Dog's gonna say." It was awesome. It's all in the good fun.
Who's winning that poll? Good to see. There we go.
66%. Makes sense. That's I would give myself 45% chance at least, but
not the magical 44. I thought you were going to say 44.
No, I have to do one better. Okay, Ryan. Thanks for your time.
All right, man.
Thanks, everyone.